The Galactic Tribunal chamber fell silent as the three young beings were escorted to the witness platform. Their small frames seemed even tinier under the vaulted ceiling of crystalline architecture that had witnessed 1,000 years of interstellar justice. Kira stood in the defendant's box, her restraints humming with containment energy. The human looked exhausted, her uniform torn and stained with blood, both her own and others. She met the cub's eyes and managed a weak smile. The tribunal arbiter, a towering Valkyrie with obsidian scales, gestured toward the three children with one of his 4 arms. Witnesses, state your designation and species. I am Tikra of the Mothkai hive, squeaked the smallest, her iridescent wings folded tight against her back. Vaughn, son of the Krellian depth clans, rumbled the second, his blue skin still showing scars from the incident. Stefan of the Terran colonies, said the third, a human boy no older than 10 standard years. The arbiter's eyes fixed on them with an intensity that made Tikra's antennae droop. You 3 were present during the incident at Station Kepler. The defendant, human Kira Thompson, is accused of violating the non-interference accord, unauthorized weapons discharge in a civilian zone, destruction of diplomatic property, and assaulting a Zorkoth dignitary. These are crimes that carry a penalty of memory wipe and indefinite detention. He paused, letting the weight settle. The Zorkoth demand justice. They claim the human acted with unprovoked aggression against Ambassador Krothak. However, you 3 have petitioned this tribunal to speak on her behalf. His mandibles clicked with what might have been curiosity or skepticism. Why would you risk your credibility, your family's honor, for this human? She is not your kin. The 3 cubs exchanged glances. Then Tikra stepped forward, her voice stronger than her size suggested. She gave us our lives, Arbiter, explain. Stefan's hands clenched into fists. The ambassador didn't tell you everything. He didn't tell you what he was doing before Kira arrived. Continue. Vaughn's gills fluttered rapidly. The ambassador found us in the observation lounge. We were studying. Tikra wanted to see the nebula through the main view. Stefan and I went with her. We were alone. The station was under diplomatic protocols, the arbiter noted. All areas were considered safe. Should have been safe, Stefan corrected bitterly. But Ambassador Krothak said we were perfect specimens. He said young beings from various species would fetch high prices on the outer rim markets. A murmur rippled through the chamber. The arbiter raised a hand for silence. These are serious accusations. Tikra's voice trembled but held firm. He sealed the lounge. His guards were with him. They had shock nets and stasis fields. They told us to be quiet, that our families wouldn't even know we were gone until the diplomatic envoy departed. I tried to fight, Vaughn added, touching the scar along his jaw. His guard hit me. Said young Krellians were especially valuable because we're rare off-world. Stefan picked up the narrative. That's when Kira came. She was doing her security rounds. She heard Tikra scream when they tried to grab her. And the defendant simply burst through a sealed diplomatic door. The arbiter's skepticism was evident. The door wasn't rated for human emergency protocols. Kira spoke for the first time, her voice hoarse. I overrode it. When I saw what was happening, I didn't have time to call for backup. The ambassador's guards were armed and reaching for the cubs. You could have triggered an alarm, another tribunal member interjected. By the time security arrived, those children would have been in stasis containers. Heading for a transport, Kira replied flatly. I've seen trafficking operations before. They move fast. Stefan nodded vigorously. She told them to release us. The ambassador laughed. Said no one would believe human security over a diplomatic envoy. Said humans were known for their paranoia and aggression, that her word meant nothing. Then what happened? The arbiter asked. She gave us a chance, Tikra whispered. She told us to run, to get behind her. She put herself between us and them. Vaughn's voice deepened with emotion. 5 armed guards and an ambassador, 1 human. She was unarmed, her weapon was still holstered for diplomatic compliance. They shot first, Stefan said firmly. The ambassador ordered it. Said she was interfering with diplomatic personnel. She took 2 plasma burns before she even moved. Kira's hand unconsciously moved to her side. Where the burns had left permanent marks, she still didn't draw her weapon, Tikra continued, wonder in her voice. She grabbed a service tray and used it as a shield, pushed us toward the emergency exit. Only when the guard aimed at Stefan did she finally fire back. The arbiter leaned forward. You witnessed her draw and discharged her weapon. All 3 cubs nodded. Stefan spoke carefully. She gave them every chance to stand down. She announced herself. She warned them. She only fired when they were about to kill us. She aimed for their weapons, not them, even when she was hurt and outnumbered. The ambassador, the arbiter pressed. He tried to run, Vaughn said. When he realized the fight was lost, he tried to activate the transport beacon. She stopped him, knocked him down, and restrained him until real security arrived. Silence filled the chamber. The Arbiter studied the three young faces before him. You understand that defending this human may have consequences. The Zorkoth are a powerful species. Your families may face diplomatic pressure. Tikra's wings spread slightly. My mother said that honor matters more than convenience. My father told me that debts must be paid, Vaughn added. Stefan stood straighter. And humans taught me that you stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. The Arbiter's gaze swept to Kira. You violated protocols. You assaulted a diplomatic envoy. Yes, Arbiter, she acknowledged quietly. And I'd do it again. Why? Kira looked at the three cubs, and her voice carried across the chamber. Because they're children. Because every species in this galaxy says they value their young above all else. Because if we can't protect our cubs in, what's the point of all our laws and treaties? She met the Arbiter's eyes without flinching. You asked these three why they'd risk themselves for me. They said I gave them their lives. But the truth is, they gave me something too. They reminded me why I put on this uniform. Why any of us do this job. The Arbiter was silent for a long moment. Then he turned back to the cubs. Last question. If you could change what happened that day, would you? Three voices answered as one. No, Arbiter. Why not? Stefan smiled then, bright and certain. Because Kira showed us what humans call courage. She taught us that one person can make a difference. That being small doesn't mean being powerless, Tikra added softly. She gave us more than our lives. She gave us hope that the galaxy has heroes. The Arbiter nodded slowly. The Tribunal will deliberate. The witnesses are dismissed. As the cubs left the platform, Vaughn turned back once more. Arbiter, there's a human saying, greater love has no one than this. That they lay down their life for a friend. Kira wasn't our friend when she found us. She was just someone doing her job, but she was willing to die for strangers, for cubs a species not her own. His young voice carried unexpected weight. If that's not justice worth defending, I don't know what is. The chamber doors closed behind them, leaving Kira alone before the Tribunal. But she wasn't afraid anymore. Whatever came next, she'd shown three young beings that someone cared enough to fight for them, and sometimes that was worth any price.